So for today, I'm going to be covering medication reconciliation. The last time we talked about stethoscope, I did 2 videos on stethoscope. So please go watch the video. It is very important to know how to use your stethoscope. Now, the other video was on blood transfusion. Today is on medication reconciliation, which we typically call MedRec. What is medication reconciliation? What is MedRec? So when an international nurse, when you hear the word MedRec, it means medication reconciliation. But what is it? Why do I need to know it? What is my business with MedRec? So when a patient comes into the hospital and is admitted, the first thing you want to do as a nurse during the admission is to find out the medications that your patient is taking. That act of collecting all the medication list that your patient is taking is what we call medication reconciliation. Now, you're not collecting it for fun. You are collecting it to put it in the system so the doctors can see a list of all the medications that your patient is taking. So please, don't rely on the ED. I've seen nurses say, oh, the ED did the MedRec. Don't rely on the ED. Even if the ED have done the MedRec, you can double check to make sure that all the medication the patient is taking at home is being put in the system so the doctors are aware. Now, once you collect all of the medications and put it in the system, the doctor sees the list and they're able to know if they should continue those medications or to stop them while the patient is in the hospital. MedRec is very important. If your patient says, I don't remember with medications I'm taking, or I don't remember how many milligrams, and you will definitely run into that situation. Don't worry. Just find out the pharmacy that the patient is using to receive their medicine. And the typical or the most common pharmacies that we have here, the pharmacy stores that we have here in the United States is Walgreens, we have CVS, and a lot of us use Walmart and some other, but these are the most popular. And some of the grocery stores like Publix, Harris Teeter, depending on, for those up north, I know you have Giant, Genodi's, all of that, but most of the grocery stores have the pharmacy built in there. So what you should do when you don't have the list of your patient's medications, you can always call the pharmacy. And the pharmacy, once you're able to verify the patient, verify the date of birth, they'll be able to release the list of medication. So you shouldn't worry. Or ask family members or ask the patient. Sometimes the patient will come with a list, but these are the ways you can get the medications. Now, once the doctor gets the medication, the doctor is able to go ahead and continue that medication or decide to stop it. So let me give an example. I had a patient, he was admitted 4 days ago. So I had him that day for my shift, and when I was looking through his medical report, I found out that he has AFib. And typically patients on AFib will be on blood thinners, but I didn't see any blood thinner ordered. So I went to the patient, I said, do you take blood thinner at home? He said, yes, I do. I said, okay, since you take blood thinner at home, what is the name? He mentioned it. I said, since you've been in the hospital for 4 days, have you received that blood thinner? Which was warfarin, Coumadin, which is the generic name. And he told me that he hasn't received it for 4 days. So can you imagine, with his irregular heart rate, which is AFib, or irregular heart rhythm, and he hasn't received his blood thinner for 4 days? What if he threw a clot and died? Whose liability is going to be? Of course, us, me. So you see why it's important to make sure. So when I looked, I noticed that his MedRec was not done. So I immediately did his MedRec, and the doctors were able to put it in the system. The doctors were able to see it. Immediately they ordered his Coumadin. So nurses, international nurses, when you come here, the one thing I want you to remember, when you get a patient and as soon as they're admitted, please make sure you do the MedRec, the medication reconciliation, so that the patient can either continue the medication that they're taking in the hospital, or the doctors will decide to stop it. So I hope you've learned something about medication reconciliation. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you, and I want you to remember to always like, share. And for those of you that haven't subscribed yet, I hope this information was helpful. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.